I'm Carrie Benedette, and this is my podcast. I'm an education consultant specialising in emotional intelligence. I'm known for my high energy, passion and compassion for those in need of help. And I like to shine a spotlight on what we can do. My mantra in life has been, let's give it a red hot shot. Listeners, welcome to another episode of Thriving Matters podcast. And have I got a thriving gal for you? Now, who would spend most of their life exploring the Arctic, exploring the notion of consciousness and just being a downright amazing gal? So welcome, Marti Spiegelman. How are you today?
I'm great today, and it's great to be with you. Thank you for that lovely introduction.
Oh, I'm sincere, don't you worry.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I know. I can feel that, definitely.
Now, listeners, you know we talk to ordinary guys and gals, and there's no offence meant there, who are doing extraordinary things in life and work. And for each of us, we have our own story, but we also have the evolution of the story as we become even more age rich. And so, Marti,
I love
that. And so you and I are in the right colour zone today.
Yes. More power to us.
Yeah, and we'll do what Stephen Covey, has always recommended. Let's look backwards to look forwards.
Exactly.
So
Yes.
our life experience
Yeah.
is pretty important, isn't it? When we can be
Yeah.
reflective of what we've done, where we want to go, how we want to be, and what we want to leave. Yeah.
Yeah. Well said.
Oh, Marti, tell everybody a little bit about you.
I am currently working to help professionals, entrepreneurs, leaders, and thought leaders, visionaries, change makers. We have a lot of different words for it, but you know who I'm talking to because it's probably you. What I do is I help you understand human consciousness for real.
Mm-hmm.
I am initiated in many indigenous lineages around the world, South America, West Africa, the Himalayas, and a number of other lineages. And all of the elders who have initiated me have asked me to bring their wisdom to my world. And what's happened for me is I began my adult careers in science. I have a degree in biochemistry, and I've studied quite a bit of neurophysiology and sociology and a lot of other ologies. And I also had a 2-decade-long stint as a professional graphic designer, which was quite interesting. And then I switched again into, if you're contemplating career change, don't hesitate, just follow my lead. But then I switched into energy healing, which is the time when I was invited to study with indigenous elders, and that was the beginning of what I do now. What happened for me is that I've always been interested in human behavior. And I've always been interested in how people know things and discover things and what makes them tick. And by the time I'd been through these careers here, there, and everywhere, and I was learning energy healing technologies and studying with the elders, it occurred to me that the wisdom sitting in indigenous cultures is actually human wisdom that describes the physics of human consciousness and how it operates within the conscious universe. And I thought, this is what everyone's looking for. This is what business people are looking for. This is what governments and societies and scientists and artists, this is everything we're looking for. And it's human knowledge. It's not somebody else's knowledge. But what's going to happen if I bring this forward is I'm going to ask people to change completely how they use awareness. So it gave me a view of all of the problems in the Western world, and we'll get to that as we talk. And it gave me a way to help modern people shift their consciousness. And I'm not talking about ingesting any joy juice here. This is pure skill with awareness. And if we shift our consciousness by shifting how we use awareness, we start to see dimensions in which thriving occurs, in which healthy leadership emerges, in which healthy collectives emerge. And what it really entails is, instead of doing something different, it entails finding out exactly who you are in the core of yourself and learning how to be that connected into the world.
And that's, for most of us, that takes a lifetime if we get there.
It's for every human, our life job.
Yeah.
That is our job description for life. It always has been in indigenous cultures. Every age of life, we blossom again. It's a principle of consciousness to blossom into states of fulfillment and create enough power and knowledge and energy to do it again in an evolutionary way. You were talking about the age you and I have blossomed into, and we have many to go, but this is how nature works.
Yeah.
A seed begins, and it sends a root down and a shoot up, and it goes through the first cycle, and then it goes to the next and the next and the next. And every cycle is an evolutionary expression of what has gone before.
Yes.
So there's continuity even as there's change. And this is what thriving depends on. Thriving is not an endpoint. Thriving is in terms of consciousness, thriving is a process.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, what just happened for me when you were speaking was I thought, oh, that adds another element to our indigenous, our First Nations here in Australia. They have a saying that is Dadari. When they say Dadari, yes, and it's about listening. Listening. It's most beautiful. And well, a couple of years ago, before COVID, actually took some educational leaders up to the top of Australia, East Arnhem Land. We lived on a dry community in Ninakai with Nancy and her daughters. The men did men's business and the women did women's business. And the interesting thing with the female principals of schools and directorates, whatever, they actually wanted to do the men's business. They didn't want to do the women's business, but to have the experience, we did. We were in the actual experience. So we did the weaving. We sat and wove, dyed, got everything. But the men, they got to go fishing. So we're on the edge of the East Arnhem Sea, and of course, over 40 degrees heat. We could not swim. We could not get cool because the water is covered in crocodiles and jellyfish. So one of the so it gave, and just listening to the kinship structure and it was So I resonate with a little bit about your involvement. Absolutely stunning with Indigenous communities around the world. So thank you for sharing that. So listeners, Marti has come across my connections in the last year or so through one of these expanded networks that a number of us have joined. Not a number, we're talking about millions and millions of people around the globe, because we now have, I believe, a flattened world with the use of technology. I can jump straight into India, like I did last night in Sri Lanka. I can be in Ireland tomorrow morning. I can do whatever. So we're in the beautiful North America at the moment with Marti. But that, to me, is a tool. Now I look and I'm meeting many, many people who are leading themselves and leading others. So I want to know, what have you got in your day that helps you thrive? What are some of the things? So let's nut this out, because I'm sure our listeners are dead set curious.
Well, I want to say a few other things. Can I throw some other things
yes,
in?
please. Yes.
Okay. All right. So in terms of consciousness, thriving requires collectivity. There is no thriving in hyper-individuation, period. It's like Janine Benyus said. She said, nothing exists outside of a system. And one of the things, and this is in answer to your question, this is one of the things that helps me thrive day by day. one of the things that helps us thrive, I think the foundation of it is our connectivity into the world.
Mm.
Our health depends on our connectivity, and our states of fulfillment also depend on our connectivity, because everyone has some kind of genius, something that needs expression, and it depends on how you're connected into the world, how fully you can express that. And so I would say, the way I experience this is, yes, we have become super connected. It's like the elders in South America said to us, you've got the internet, use it. They were encouraging us to, like, if travel is expensive, you don't want to use jet fuel, get on Zoom. And so we have all done that. And I don't think, for me, it's not flattened the world out, although I know what you mean by that. I think it's enabled us to tap into new dimensions.
Oh, I like that even better. Thank you. Yes.
You know, it has to be dimensional. This is one of the problems with Western consciousness. It's gone two-dimensional on itself, and there's no thriving in two dimensions. You can't just have length and width. You have got to have some height, right? How else are you going to up and outward? So I think the internet connections that we have, and yes, I'm all over the world like you, day by day, and it's marvelous. Yeah. That connectivity is one of the biggest things for thriving. We just don't do well in isolation. And yet we live in a culture that in general says individuate, separate yourself out, become unique, pull yourself up by your own bootstraps, and people end up alone and not confident in their gifts. So how are you going to thrive in that state?
Yeah, that's true.
Connected is it. And in this being connected, I think one of the most challenging things for Western people, this is also core to our health and our consciousness, is finding out who we really are and simply being that. and that's no small challenge. This is literally the human challenge. Be whoever you are. And if you can get a little taste of that, you'll notice that things like the work-life balance disappears. Because in every situation, you're being you. And you have to do it on Zoom, and as well as in person and at work and at home and everywhere.
Yeah. And I've actually heard quite a few women in the last few years say, I don't really like who I am. And so we talk about that a little bit more, tell me more. And it's their self-awareness. It's what they think they are doing when perhaps they don't really know. It hasn't. So those spaces that we talk about, you often hear a coach or a mentor talk about a space to do the thinking, or a space to do the relearning, a space to practice, a space to test your values, beliefs, and assumptions. I think is the space we can actually do that. It doesn't have to be with a backpack on our back in the wilderness. It can actually be in the wilderness in our backyard. It can be in, we can with the skills do that. Yeah.
Exactly. And it can be and should be in the wilderness of everyday conversation. I mean, the world of humans is a wilderness, really, we should experience that. But, we are living in a culture that over many, many generations, we've been imprinted with this thing of get rid of the bad and only be good. But consciousness is a package deal. If you want to know yourself, it's a package deal. And when we hear people say, oh, I don't really like myself, it's only because they have not been taught how to incorporate the parts of themselves that have been challenged. We're not taught how to incorporate the parts of us that are imperfect. This is like gone from modern culture. And so we end up with this imprint. If I can't incorporate it, I don't like it because somebody said it was bad. And there is no prescription for curing that other than shifting how you use awareness and finding some willingness in yourself to know every part of yourself and realize that totality is you. And when we do that, then we realize that our real power and our real wisdom comes from those darker places that we've been told to kind of cement over. The only way we learn is through challenge.
Mm.
And darker, difficult moments, that's where our genius is, that's where the platinum is sitting. And we need to somehow find this totality of ourselves. If we really want to thrive, we need to find the whole thing and realize how our pain gives us wisdom, realize how our quote unquote inadequacies have driven us to learn and to grow, to realize that imperfection is really beautiful.
I
to
love
really take
that. Pain gives us
really,
wisdom. Yeah.
it really does. And to learn to let everyone be exactly who they are. And that's not easy. I'm not doing I'm up on the soapbox here, your 3 steps to nirvana. I don't do that. This is big human work.
Yeah.
And in indigenous cultures, this teaching of being who you are and being connected in the world, it starts in infancy. And in Western culture, it's completely missing. And so if you're lucky, you get challenged to the point where you say, oh my God, all this talking from the gurus doesn't work. Where's something real? And you might find a good mentor at that point, but it's very, very hard in our world. So bless you for having these conversations. They're really important.
Whilst you were speaking, I just went back to Arnhem Land, and I'm thinking that your experiences, across the globe, would perhaps may agree with this or resonate with it. That's a better word, resonate. The yarning that our indigenous peoples do, the telling of the stories, the song lines, the way. And I'm just looking, I've got some Aboriginal paintings I brought back from Arnhem Land up on the wall here, on the opposite wall. And I'm thinking that's always been a feature of any of the cultures that you mentioned that you've been involved with and continue to be involved in, is how you share the story, how you listen, and how there's a time lapse to discover, to the ritual of that has become very important, not just for the self-awareness, but for the understanding of your place in the world and your role in the world.
That's it. Yeah. The what we call stories, this is the history of the culture.
Yeah.
And indigenous cultures have been able to keep that story alive and add to it generation to generation, really without written language.
Yeah.
We've sunk so low we have to write it all down and edit it. but we have the capacity to remember. And without that continuity, people are born with no belonging. This is the Western world. We're born and we don't belong to anything. We don't belong to the land. We don't belong to people. Most people I know look back at recent Western lineages and they say, oh, there was all those terrible world wars and everybody got messed up. And so that's not my lineage. And, everybody's got a lineage. And what we see with indigenous people is they are still living that wisdom. That's how you take care of consciousness, is you remember where you came from and you add. And everyone knows, and so everyone knows the larger belonging. This is another thing that brings a tremendous amount of peace and satisfaction to a human organism, is to know the bigger thing you belong to, the bigger thing that supports you. And truthfully, it's the universe that we all belong to, and it's this planet we all belong to, and the land and the oceans. But we also, as a species, we belong to the human species. And modern people have no connection, no elder mentoring in that belonging. And so we don't know we have it. But that's what you're seeing the elders do. They are taking care of the consciousness of their people.
I've actually jumped in my mind towards what we're seeing now across the world from our leaders. And I think, and I'm wondering, I've got these questions going, I wonder how well they know themselves when they're standing up, professing particular viewpoint, their their behaviours are open for all to observe, whether we resonate with those behaviours or not, or we think they're, you know, appropriate or inappropriate or in the best interest of humanity. Because it's a big question, because we've been through a lot in the last 5 years. It's hurtling forward even faster. Mm-hmm. It's another, I believe, another revolution that we're living through. And I wonder what type of leadership we'll have, say, even in the next 5 to 10 years. Will it be similar to what it is now, or is there a way that it's going to be changing? Just some thoughts. That's a little bit garbled, so.
No, it's. I think it's quite clear, and it's a good question, because I think in general, if I look through the lens of the technologies of consciousness, leadership, it's not about a person at the head of a line or on top of an organizational structure. Leadership, if you can imagine a sphere comprised of nodes of light, and all the nodes are connected by luminous strands. The leader at any given moment is the brightest light, and that light is being added to the rest of the sphere, and everything is interconnected. Yeah. And I think in the States, I don't usually talk about politics, but I think in the States, the nature of leadership is changing. It is occurring here. And the people who are speaking up now, who've got their heads on straight, know themselves. They really know themselves. And that's changing the nature of their message. It's changing how they relate to one another and to people. They're much more collective. In other words, they understand their value in terms of the collective, not in terms of being on top of anything or ahead of anything. They're in the middle of a big country, and they're serving the country from the middle in constant interaction. And I'm saying in very simple terms how consciousness works. It's not hierarchical, it's not linear, it's dimensional, and the dimensions are constantly shifting and changing in importance depending on the situation. So I think this leadership is coming forward, and the old style linear leadership, hierarchical leadership, is crashing. Yeah. I mean, I always think about this in the early days of human development. Western culture basically started in the Tigris and Euphrates river valleys. And that was one of the places where we settled down and started building buildings, and we started covering the earth with stone. And, you know, the early buildings we built were magnificent. They were in relationship with the sun and the earth and the directions and the elements. But gradually we withdrew our awareness from nature and the powers that create the world. And we went inside ourselves and started thinking, and we started to get linear and hierarchical. And instead of having collective cultures, we built hierarchies of power, where the power is on the top and the weakness is on the bottom. I mean, that's how cultures got built. Think of the Roman emperors, and think of every president of every country on the planet right now. We put the power on the top and the weakness at the bottom. How is that going to last? So that's a linear idea of leadership, and it's something that drives us into defensive-ness and separation, and it is crashing. It is not sustainable. Yeah. So I think it's already changing.
Right. Well, that's I know I'm critiquing what I believe are the behaviours of leaders at the moment. And it's easy to go to political leaders because they are basically accessed within a second, whether it's on your TV, your phone, whatever. So, and, you know, we're being bombarded with it. And clips, interpretations, grabs of little things out of context, which alter the way the message is produced. So I'm wondering what type of things do you think the leaders of today should be doing that they're not? I mean, I know they're evolving, and the world is evolving. We have some regression, I believe, in some areas of coming back into tightening up the security or the power base of a particular country. Australia says that it's multicultural. We've basically got every nationality in the world living here with us. Many other countries are similar. We're not alone in that anymore. But what often happens is that the thinking, the experience and history of the old country is brought to the new country. And I think there's a mix match, whether about how do we want to behave here and be here in the opportunity that we have, versus do we bring along the grief and the angst and the history, persecution, whatever, of the old country, and that sometimes starts to seep in.
Yeah. Well, to answer your question directly, leaders today need to embody the organizing principles of consciousness. That's my short answer. Of course, there are very few places to learn what those actually are. That's my work in the world. But I'll put it in more general, everyday terms. Leaders today need to somehow find a way to full consciousness. And in full consciousness, I'm using these terms a little bit loosely. If I'm a fully conscious leader, then my whole experience of the world around me is radically different from the average linear person around me. I'm processing information collectively. I'm processing my role through many dimensions of interconnectivity. I'm creating meaning in collective ways, not individual ways. I'm not interested in power over. I'm interested in being the source of momentum for thriving. I'm interested in being a beacon of light and spreading my light. I'm interested in igniting other nodes in my system so they can operate properly. It's like your heart actually being a good heart in your body instead of trying to take over. And the other thing, I'm not sure quite how this is all going to fit together, but the other thing that's on my mind is that when we look at leaders today, as you said, it's really easy to take a snippet on Instagram and condemn somebody. And you can see, especially with political leaders, the president of a country gets blamed for everything. Government doesn't work by one person doing things. We're so hyper individuated that we forget that government is a collective, however well or poorly it operates. One person gets all the blame, but anything that's running on blame and judgment is running in only two dimensions of consciousness, and it is not sustainable. So there needs to be, my dream is that at least a handful of leaders are either naturally fully conscious and dimensional in the way I'm talking about, or there's a way that to become somebody who is an influential leader, that you have to learn what consciousness actually is and what these principles are. These principles, they exist in every single human culture, except Western culture. What we call indigenous, which is our word for them. I don't really like the word, but anyway, that's a sidebar.
Yes.
Original human cultures, every single one has some way of expressing the same set of principles. And those principles guide how people got together, got connected, created meaning, created thriving, and everybody knew them and everybody operated the same way. Everybody understood consciousness instead of agreements or demands or laws. There was consciousness.
So that we're talking about basically just then current systems that have been put in place mainly for organisational and power. I would think power over, not power with, and so really a collective would still have to have some type of systems, and it would look quite different. But I love the fact that you talked about middle leaders before. I work in education a lot, and to me, that's the sweet spot to work. They are critical. The middle leaders are critical.
Yes.
Whether they stay there or not, or whether they actually are able to take on other extra roles. And traditionally here in Australia, we go coordinator role, then we go up to an assistant principal, then we go principal or head or whatever. But more and more, that for me, that globe with all the the nucleus of a cell with the spinning electrons, neutrons, the orbits coming in and out. I often get that visual in my head when I think this is the collective, this is the energy, people moving in and out of responsibility, taking the initiative, developing their voice, their skill set.
Yeah.
And that nucleus has the heart in it. That's sort of where I sort of get a visual. And listeners, I hope you're enjoying the conversation, or you're even more curious about the conversation, because Marti would love to have a conversation with you as well. So she's not far away, as you can hear.
Just a Zoom chat away.
Just a Zoom chat. But so here's where I think it's most important to be able to do the collective style of leadership that you're talking about, and I'm pretty convinced is the way. We need to be interested and proactive in our own well-being, our own wellness.
Yeah. Yes.
To be able to do that, to have, to be able to look at the team that you have and go, I know this and this about these people. Now I can see a real opportunity here for so-and-so, because, they will often do the deeper thinking. They need a little bit more time to process what changes we're going to be making around this particular initiative, or something new that's come in from the government that we have to do. I was speaking to a principal yesterday, and I would say he has the highest amount of emotional intelligence that I have witnessed in an educational leader, and he's well known for this. And he's very realistic. He's very self-aware about his own capacity, and whether he takes too long in some. He said to me, I think I take a little bit too long in some instances to decide. And I just said, well, you've got a whole team that you will listen to. And one of his sweet spots really is that he's always listened to his kindergarten all the way up to his 18-year-olds in the school. He listens, and he has their voice is paramount. And I think that's one of the things in our old style of leadership that is now people are rattling the cage going, we have a voice. We have a voice. We want to have that voice. How do we do this in a way that's for good?
Yeah. And, this is a very big topic. We could do like 10 conversations on this. Basically, absolutely, yes, to everything you're saying. Again, I think the human body is a good analogy. It's the difference between all your organs being in conversation with one another, which they naturally are, versus one of your organs, like your right kidney, saying, I'm taking over, stand aside. Yeah, seriously. Every organization is an organism. It's a living organism, and all the parts need to be connected to all the other parts. And quite often in the modern world, we're working in a situation where there's an idea of let's take school. There's an idea of what a school is. It has a principal, and it has teachers, and it has this, and it has that. We're working in imposed frameworks.
Yes.
And that's not a conscious way to do anything. It's like trying to put square pegs in round holes, or whatever that expression is. Actually, in terms of consciousness, the way a good framework evolves is you go back to the level of relationships. You flow some energy. Let's say I'm supposed to be the principal, and I'm that guy. I'm going to go meet everybody, and I'm going to flow my energy to them. They're going to flow to me, and we're going to connect. And I'm going to do that with everybody. And out of those connections, I'll find out which ones are resonant because I'll experience that. And I'll find out the ones that are not resonant that require change. They're speaking change. And I will evolve the framework out of the relationship lines. That's how a functional framework
works.
So if you're basing your leadership on relationship work, on understanding complementarities and similarities in relationship, how to bring people together, how to let things be if they don't mix, all of that, if you're a leader and you're tracking that, then the structure, if you will, of your organization will emerge in your awareness, and you'll make adjustments as necessary because it becomes obvious.
Yeah.
So the framework, instead of imposing, we have to let the framework be a living thing. And as a leader, one of the big functions, I love this, is to spark that knowing. Every node knows every other node. And there is a leader who's supervising, if you will, taking care of the
Yes.
sorting and the tracking. There are always things that are tracking systems or parts of systems. That's how natural systems work. But that's a very big function of conscious leaders, and it creates well-being. The outcome is well-being.
Yes. So it's consciousness, conscious leaders. That means a whole lot of interesting innovation and for leadership frameworks and leadership, basically leadership programs, trainings, and more and more people are working on their own well-being and using a framework for that works for them, because they consciously want to live in a more balanced way, I'm sure, but they also want their people to experience that, so we can be at our best, we can give of our best, we can make those decisions under pressure that are needed, because there's nothing like an emergency to bring out, or a total change or shock, or something that we're not going to be able to control, such as a pandemic, right? And so interesting. So looking back, I'm interested in what you're now noticing. So looking back, pandemic is, in a way, is still rolling through in various guises, yeah. And people more and more, I speak to people and they go, "Oh yeah, I've got a few more twinges. I'm noticing this, or I've got long COVID. I just can't get it to get. I'm just it's taking a while to recover from this. If I do recover." What are you noticing as basically around people's actual consciousness of their well-being? Are you noticing anything different?
Yeah, in a way I am. I think that the pandemic, I think it was handled very poorly, and so it did a lot of damage in people's perceptions of wellness and safety. And I think people are still a bit unnerved by how easy it is to catch that crazy virus.
Yeah.
And unnerved in a way that we're not by getting the flu or a cold. And so I think the pandemic alerted people to the fact that our health is not guaranteed. That's number one. I think it's thrown a lot of fear into the consideration of well-being. How can I stay well?
Yeah.
And so some people I notice are taking a little bit better care of themselves, but I think there's a lot of question about this business of well-being.
Yeah.
And what is it to actually be healthy? And if I get sick, have I made a mistake? Or how does my body handle a virus? How does my body handle a bacteria? I think it's kind of cracked open the whole consideration of well-being. I think we felt invulnerable before the pandemic.
Actually, it's the plethora of programs, government initiatives, even here in Australia, and multiply that by how many countries around the world, and depending on their economic status, what they can do for their people. You know, I look at a country like India, 1.5 billion people compared to Australia. And I think, wow, their response to the pandemic was very different to other countries. And does that actually go to lifestyle? Does it go to their style of eating, the foods that they eat, the beliefs that they have that have come down through tradition? So yes, it's an interesting concept, but we're also gotten used to going, I need this now, and it's going to fix me like that. And I think you're quite right. We think we're invincible.
Yeah. And you know, the thing about, if you talk to the elders, they'll tell you that they'll say something like, well, your healed state is dependent on your connectivities into the world. So what they mean technically is that you could have a broken leg and still be in your healed state because you're connected into the world in such a way that your body's getting what it needs to heal.
Yeah.
And even the minute you cut yourself, your body's healing the cut in that same instant. And so even if you cut yourself, you're still in your healed state. And I think we have a kind of distorted sense of health, which means perfect. And the way we take care of people now, of course, we have the problem scale because there's never been this many humans on the planet. But healthcare now, it's tangled up with culture, and it's tangled up with government, and it's tangled up with politics, and it's tangled up with financial manipulation. And so it's very hard to understand what it is to get healthcare or be healthy.
Yes.
And I think one of the things that we can do as leaders, as you know, people like you and me, we're talking to people around the world. One of the things we can do is to help people reset their understanding of what health is and what health care is, and why you would take care of yourself.
Yes.
And what the outcomes of that are. And I think, I know there are a lot of people out there trying to do this, and there are a lot of programs and a lot of things that you can sign up for. Some of it's very good and some of it doesn't work. And so I think the other thing that we can do is this little piece that I shared about frameworks. It's not going to help us to think up a framework over here and impose it on those people over there. And this is Western thinking. What's my framework for this? What's my business plan? What's my strategic whatever? And we think up a set, fixed plan, and then we try to carry that out. And the only thing we're paying attention to is the plan. And if it's a plan for my healthcare, I may not be paying attention to my body, and I might be pushing myself to do things because the plan says so. But this business of listening, the elders say, listen, it's not passive listening. What they mean is that everything inside us has come from outside of us. They mean receive information from the world around you, receive information from your own body. And with that information comes direction, instruction. Do what the world says, do what your body says. That's what they mean. They mean that our source of wisdom is dynamic. And the only way we get that wisdom and that information is by being connected into the world around us. Then we'll know how to take care of ourselves. That's how humans have always taken care of themselves, is to listen to the world. I know people in South America, some of my colleagues, who have healed their own broken bones overnight by calling on earth energy.
Well,
literally,
so. Well, it's like a massive reset. And you know, when we bring these beautiful babies into the world, these incredible creations that we can make, it's, in a way, it's, I look at my grandchildren now and I just go, oh my gosh, the outlook their parents have on what they do for them now is quite different. There's similarities, but some difference to how I did it. And I always used to say, well, I call my 4 children the licorice all sorts, and they actually they love it. They just go, we're the licorice all sorts. They like that individuality, you know. We're still part of that family, but we have our difference. And I truly admire how they sort through the issues that they are now coming up with or being challenged with as parents, and how they're looking at what's best for this particular child, not just necessarily a blanket. But I look at those babies, and we've got a 4-month-old at the moment, Marty, and he's just delicious. He's just delicious, and he's laughing, and he's found his little voice, and he knows others' voices. But the absolute pure joy out of that, and I look at him and I go, I just wonder what you will do, how you will be in this life, with a different upbringing. And how, I talk to the kids, and what is it that's so important for them when they're bringing up somebody new like this? And to me, it's a reset on how what was expected of me as a child, number one. When I sort of lost some creativity, when it was really enforced into me that you didn't show weakness or, let other people know, you kept to yourself, you got on, you did, your world was this big, when actually the world is just so big. So that self-awareness piece is critical, isn't it?
It really is. And, it's very difficult to come into self-awareness if you don't have a sense of belonging, if you don't have a sense of membership in something bigger than yourself.
Yeah.
If you feel isolated, your ego structure is attempting to hold you and it won't let go. But, that's not the job of the ego structure. It's not supposed to hold you up and protect you and stuff. It's just supposed to be the home of your personality. That's it. And the world around you, the earth and the stars above you and the universe is what holds you, what you have membership in. And if you can relax into that bigger membership, then you start to find out who you are.
Yeah.
It's almost impossible to find out who you are if you don't have a connection into nature, into earth, into the stars and the oceans. And every indigenous culture has known that up until our times, when we withdrew ourselves from nature and we went inside ourselves and kind of stayed there.
Yes. And why would the intent be for us to be born into this beautiful world, if not to actually treasure it?
Yeah.
That's what I look at. Oh, Marty, we could go on for days.
We could.
Listeners, I don't know about you, but it's quite fascinating, and lots of things come up. So I'd say to you, if you listen to this and you want to rerun it, get your journal or a book out and just stop and start and take some notes. And I'm a drawer, so I will doodle. I've got a page of notes here, even though I've got, notes being recorded. But I tend to draw as well as write. And it is just so special to spend a few minutes at the end of the day looking back over what you've done, and you start to do a little bit of dreaming. It's just beautiful. You're pondering and wondering. And I think, Marty, this is what you've actually done for us today, is given us some extra ways to think about things that we haven't, just to challenge. And there's nothing wrong with feeling a little bit like your stomach's flipping or going, really? Is this woman crazy, or is she on the money? and I just go, right, well then think about it. Go put your shoes on and go for it, and just go, that's right. I'm actually walking on something that is man-made. I'm walking on bitumen, but let me get to the grass, because that was here before the bitumen or the cement or the paving. Get in it, get real. Oh, Marty, is there something we should say that we haven't said for this point in time on this podcast? Is there anything we should say?
Well, I think you were just beginning to say it. Looking for our own well-being, our own sense of self, and that experience of belonging. Yes, go find a little patch of land, take your shoes off and stand on the earth. better yet, if it's a little bigger patch of land, fling yourself on the ground and feel the earth supporting you, and don't think.
Yeah.
Don't name it, don't go into story, don't analyze it, just be in the experience
Yeah.
of you in contact with the earth
Oh, I
and
love
see
it.
what happens to you.
Fling. Don't you love that, listeners? Just fling yourself and don't think. I love it. Oh dear. And no one, if you do it, if you can do it when no one's around, you're not going to worry about what people are thinking either.
Exactly.
I love it. Oh, Marty, I'm just so thrilled to have the conversation with you again. Now, what's the easiest way for people to find you?
The easiest way is simply email me if you want to talk to me. Marti Spiegelman at mac.com. That's Marty with an I.
Yep, we'll
All
put that in the
lowercase.
notes. Yeah.
And also, if you go to pc.martispiegelman.org, you will find my audio course, Foundations of Precision Consciousness.
Okay.
And those are two easy things to do.
Right. I'll put listeners, I'll put those in the notes for you as well. Well, Marty,
Great.
oh, this is beautiful. Now, listeners, you know me. Everyone likes a little bit of love, especially podcasters. So it's a great deal. So give us a little bit of love on any platform, Spotify, you name it, Apple. We're there. You'll find myself. Lovely. You'll find me on LinkedIn as well as Marty. So I'm going to put all those in the show notes. Share this with colleague, family, friends, whoever you fall over, talk to in the supermarket, meet up with on a Friday night for a wine and good music. Just share it and just go. I actually had an experience this week listening to this amazing woman who's talking about our own consciousness and how powerful we can actually be in our own self-awareness to know our place in the world and how we want to live. So give us some love, and listeners, always remember that you are precious and your thriving matters. Thank you again, Marty. Great to talk to you.
Karen.
See you next episode, everyone. Bye. I'm Carrie Benedette, and this is my podcast.